The alien crowd stood frozen. No one dared to move. Not even the Queen. Her dragon, a massive, dark-scaled beast with eyes like fire, had always obeyed one voice, hers. No one else could go near it without losing a limb or a life. Until now. A human man stood in front of the beast, his hands deep inside its jaw. His name was Jack Reed. A mechanic. From Earth. Dirty shirt, rolled-up sleeves, and grease on his fingers, he didn't look like much. Not to the aliens watching. Not even to the Queen. She had brought him here as a joke. A captured man from a lost planet. She wanted to watch him try and fail. Maybe scream. Maybe burn. But instead, her dragon lowered its head. Calm. Silent. Breathing slowly. And Jack? He was just working. Like it was another machine. Hold still, big guy, Jack muttered, turning a wrench inside the beast's mouth. The dragon growled softly but didn't bite. It trusted him. The Queen's eyes narrowed. This shouldn't be happening. 2 hours earlier, Queen Solara of Valexia had walked into the repair chamber like a storm. Her guards pushed Jack forward. You said you fix broken things, human, she said, her voice sharp like metal. Jack looked up. She was stunning. Tall, powerful, dressed in a deep red gown that hugged every curve. Her golden crown shone, but her smirk was sharper. I fix engines, he answered. Not monsters. That made her laugh. Good. My dragon isn't a monster. It's worse. Then she pointed. The great beast lay chained and wounded. Its jaw had cracked in battle. Fix it, she ordered. Or die. Jack sighed. Same deal every planet, huh? He picked up his toolbox. No fear. Just frustration. He had no idea why her dragon was like this, but he wasn't planning to die today. Now, as the alien crowd watched, Jack gently tapped the final bolt into place. Done, he said, stepping back. The dragon let out a low breath, then turned its massive head toward Jack. For a moment, no one breathed. Then, the dragon nudged Jack with its snout. Like a dog. Like it liked him. Gasps filled the room. Jack blinked. You're welcome. Queen Solara stepped forward, her eyes locked on the mechanic. What trick is this? She asked coldly. Jack shrugged. No trick. Maybe your beast just needed a little kindness. Or maybe it's tired of being yelled at. The dragon growled softly at her. She flinched. He smirked. See? A flicker of something passed through her face. Rage? Embarrassment? Or interest? She walked closer, heels clicking on the marble floor. You touched my beast, she whispered. Jack looked her in the eyes. Yeah. And it didn't kill me. She stood just inches away now. Her voice was soft, but her tone was fire. My dragon listens to me. Obeys me. It never bows to anyone else. Jack leaned in slightly, his voice playful. Maybe you should ask it who it likes more now. Her eyes widened. Just for a second. Then she turned sharply. Guards! Take him to the high quarters. What? No prison? Jack asked. She looked back. A dangerous smile on her lips. You're not a prisoner anymore, human. You're a mystery. That night, Jack was moved to a tall room overlooking the dragon pit. It was comfortable. Too comfortable. He stood at the window, looking down at the dragon sleeping peacefully. A soft knock. The Queen entered without waiting. Jack raised an eyebrow. Royal visit? I didn't clean up. She walked past him, straight to the window. I watched you, human. You didn't flinch. You didn't beg. That's strange. Jack crossed his arms. Maybe your people scare too easily. She turned, slowly. Her eyes scanned him. Not just curious now. Something else. You're not like the others we've captured. I'm not like anyone, Jack replied. That's why your dragon liked me. She laughed again. This time, it sounded real. Then she walked closer, slowly, until she was inches away again. If I find out you're lying, I'll feed you to it. Jack smiled. Guess I better keep impressing you then. She stared into his eyes for a long moment, then leaned in. But stopped. Without another word, she turned and left. Outside the window, the dragon looked up at Jack's room and growled softly. Not a threat. A promise. It wasn't the chains that held Jack Reed prisoner. It was the Queen's curiosity. And maybe her eyes. Jack sat on a smooth black couch, staring at the alien sunset beyond the palace glass. The room was royal. Gold walls, silk curtains, fruit he didn't recognize, but no guards. He wasn't in a prison. He was in a trap. The dragon was below. He could see its dark wings resting, breathing like a furnace. But the Queen, she was behind him. I thought you'd try to escape, she said softly. Jack didn't turn around. I thought about it, he answered. But I like good views. And good mysteries. He looked over his shoulder. Queen Zalara leaned against the wall, dressed in something that wasn't royal armor anymore. A deep purple gown, tighter than war clothes. Dangerous in a different way. Mystery, she asked, raising a brow. You, Jack said. He stood up, slowly. You rule an empire, ride a monster, and wear a crown like it's nothing. But when your dragon listened to me, your face changed. Like, you lost control. She stepped forward. And now you think you've won control. Jack smiled. Not yet. But I'm working on it. The Queen moved fast. 1 second, she was standing across the room. The next, she was inches from him, alien grace, power in every step. She tilted her head. You're bold, for a mechanic. He didn't back down. You're curious, for a queen. They stared at each other. No words. Just tension. A heartbeat passed. She broke the silence. I want you to do it again. Jack blinked. Do what? She pointed down through the glass floor to the pit. Make the beast obey. Ride it. Control it. Prove it wasn't a lucky moment. Jack folded his arms. What if I say no? She smiled, sharp and slow. Then I'll assume it was a trick and have you thrown to it. Unarmed. Jack grinned. Knew there was a catch. The next morning, the palace gathered. Thousands of alien citizens stood in silence, watching the arena. High walls. No exits. A sky that burned violet above. In the center stood the beast. Its scales glowed with dark heat. Its wings stretched wide. It was ready for war. And then came Jack. He walked in wearing only his mechanic shirt and rough pants. No armor. No weapon. Just confidence. The crowd laughed. Mocked him. Yelled in alien tongues. But the Queen said nothing. She sat high in her throne, eyes locked on him. Jack walked straight to the dragon. It roared. Flames danced behind its teeth. He didn't flinch. Morning, buddy, Jack said casually. Still sore. The dragon growled. Deep. Hungry. Jack stepped closer. One slow step at a time. He raised a hand. You know me, he whispered. I fixed you. Trust me. The dragon's eyes narrowed. It huffed smoke. But it didn't strike. Jack touched its jaw. And the dragon lowered its head. Gasps echoed. Jack climbed onto its back. The beast stood still. calm. Like it had waited for this. Queen Zalara stood from her throne. Her lips parted slightly. Her fingers curled on the armrest. Her beast had never been ridden. Not by anyone. Until now. The dragon rose into the sky with a blast of wind. Jack held on tight, but with ease. Like he was riding a machine. Like he belonged. The crowd screamed in awe. Zalara watched him from her balcony. She hated this. And loved it. Because she wasn't in control. Not anymore. Later, Jack landed the beast on the palace roof. He jumped off, breathing hard but grinning. The queen was waiting. "You tamed my war beast," she said coldly. Jack wiped sweat from his brow. "He's not a beast. He's just misunderstood." Zalara stepped forward, eyes burning. "I should have you killed." "But you won't," Jack said, stepping closer. "Why not?" "Because," he said with a smirk, "you want to see what else I can tame." She slapped him. Hard. His head turned, but he didn't lose the smile. Her voice shook. "You're mine now. I don't care what the beast thinks." Jack tilted his head. "I belong to no one. Not even you, Your Majesty." The queen turned away, but not before Jack saw it. The heat in her eyes. It wasn't anger. It was desire. And confusion. She was losing her grip. And he was just getting started. He never dreamed of flying. He was a mechanic, grease under his nails, not stars above his head. But now, Jack Reed wasn't dreaming. He was flying. On the back of a beast that feared no one except him. And below, an entire alien kingdom watched in silence. Including her. Queen Zalara. It started hours earlier. Jack had barely slept in the royal chambers. Not because of fear, but because of questions. Why did the dragon obey him? Why did the queen keep visiting, speaking in riddles, watching him like a puzzle? He stood at the balcony, eyes locked on the pit below. The dragon was curled there, eyes glowing softly. It hadn't touched food. It hadn't moved. It was waiting. The door behind Jack opened without warning. No knock. No guards. Just her. Queen Zalara stepped in, wearing a dark robe, half regal, half personal. "You look tired, human." Jack turned. Can't sleep when someone's dragon stares at you all night. She walked past him, poured herself a drink. It stares at you because it sees something familiar. Like what? He asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she whispered, "Today, you ride it again." Jack frowned. "Why?" Her voice dropped, barely a breath. "Because I need to know if it chose you or if I did." He didn't understand. Not yet. But her eyes lingered on him just a moment too long. The crowd returned to the arena. Bigger this time. The queen had sent an official message. The human will ride again, or be eaten. Alien nobles watched from their sky balconies. Warriors stood with hands on hilts. Bets were placed. Some said Jack would burn in the first minute. Others thought he'd surprise again. But no one expected what came next. Jack stepped out. But this time, he wore alien armor, black, fitted, light. A gift from the queen herself. "You dress me up now?" he had asked earlier. Zalara had smiled. "You're mine now. I want you to die beautifully." He didn't know if she was joking. He still wasn't sure. The dragon growled when it saw him. But it wasn't anger. It was excitement. Jack walked straight to it. Climbed on its back. No resistance. The dragon launched upward with a force that shattered windows. Jack held on, wind ripping past him. But he wasn't scared. He was alive. And for the first time in years, free. Above the clouds, the alien world looked unreal. Oceans of blue fire. Forests that glowed. Mountains shaped like fangs. Jack laughed. The dragon roared. And somewhere far below, Queen Zalara gripped the balcony rails, hard. She hated this. She had trained that beast. Fed it. Ruled it. And now, it followed a human. Worse, she wanted to follow him too. Jack circled the capital. On instinct, the dragon obeyed each shift of his body. He flew over the Queen's tower and noticed something strange, guards, moving weapons. He guided the dragon lower, careful, silent. He hovered near a glass dome. Inside, maps. Glowing red lights. Earth. Alien generals were planning something. An invasion? Jack's heart sank. He pulled the dragon up and flew back toward the palace. This wasn't just a game anymore. They were going to attack his home. And he was the only one here who cared. He landed hard in the main courtyard. The crowd backed away. Soldiers raised weapons. The dragon snarled, warning them. Jack jumped off and marched inside. He pushed past guards. Royal servants. He didn't care. He stormed straight into the Queen's throne room. She stood, startled. "I see you survived," she said calmly. Jack didn't wait. "You're planning to attack Earth." Zalara's eyes narrowed. "You shouldn't have seen that." "But I did," he snapped. "And you didn't stop them." She stepped closer. "I lead them, Jack. I rule this empire. And Earth is weak." Jack shook his head. "No. Earth is underestimated." He leaned in, voice low, angry. "Just like you underestimated me. Your dragon chose me. Maybe because it knows what's coming." Zalara blinked. Something flickered in her eyes. Doubt? Guilt? Or just hunger? She stepped even closer. Almost whispering now. "And if I choose you too, human, what happens then?" Jack didn't smile. "Not this time. Then maybe you won't be my enemy." She stared at him, long and hard. Then turned away. "Return to your chambers," she said. "We'll speak again tonight." Jack left, but not before glancing back. She was trembling. Just slightly. And that was the scariest thing of all. Because Queen Zalara wasn't afraid of anyone. Until now. The Queen said nothing. Not for hours. Not even to her council. She just stared at the chamber wall. That was how they knew she was shaken. Queen Zalara never stayed silent. Earlier that morning, after Jack stormed into her throne room and accused her of planning Earth's destruction, something inside her cracked. Not from guilt. Not even fear. From doubt. She had ruled for decades. Burned worlds. Crushed rebellions. Silenced kings. But now a human was questioning her in front of her guards, on her own floor. And the worst part? She let him. Jack paced his chamber. His thoughts ran hot, but his hands were steady. Years working on machines taught him control. Still, he didn't understand her. One moment, Zalara wanted him dead. The next, she dressed him in armor and offered seductive riddles. He looked out the balcony again. The dragon was gone. That scared him more than anything. A knock came. But the door didn't wait. As usual, she entered without permission. But tonight, she looked different. No crown. No robe. Just a black bodysuit, tight, battle-worn, and deadly. Her eyes? Cold again. Or trying to be. "You watched the war table," she said. Jack nodded. "I did. You disobeyed my rules. I disobeyed your war." A long pause. She walked slowly toward him. "I've fought for centuries," she said. "Every planet has blood on it. Yours will too. Jack held her gaze. Unless you stop it. She laughed once, sharp. You think I'd spare Earth, because my dragon likes your hands? Jack smirked. No. I think you're scared. Her face twitched. What did you say? You heard me. Jack stepped closer, now matching her slow pace. You felt it, didn't you? When I rode your beast. When it listened to me, not you. Her fists tightened. You've ruled too long. You're not used to losing control. He was inches away now. But I saw your eyes, he whispered. You liked it. She moved like lightning. Slapped him across the face. But this time, Jack didn't smile. He didn't flinch. He just stared. Queen Zalara's hand lowered. And for the first time in her reign, her voice broke slightly. I should execute you. But you won't, Jack replied quietly. Because if you do, your dragon might not forgive you. The silence between them stretched. Thick. Heated. Not with rage, but something rawer. Her lips parted, no words came. Then finally, she spoke. Voice like cracked glass. There's a secret, she whispered. Jack said nothing. If I tell you, you'll lose all trust in me. Jack tilted his head. Try me. She stepped back. Looked away. My generals are planning the invasion without me. I said no. They ignored me. Jack's eyes widened slightly. You're losing control, he said. She nodded, once. Slowly. I've ruled with fear for years. But the moment I showed hesitation, they smelled weakness. She turned back to him. You started this. Jack swallowed hard. And now, she said, stepping close again, you're the only one I can't afford to kill. Down below, fire roared. The dragon returned, wild, agitated, circling the palace, then diving into the shadows. Something was wrong. Zalara ran to the window. It's wounded, she said. Jack followed. They saw a line of smoke trailing from its wing. Poison, she whispered. Sabotage. Jack clenched his jaw. From your generals. She nodded again. They fear it's loyal to you now. They're cutting us both out. Jack's voice was low, dangerous. Then they're making a mistake. He turned back to her. We need a plan. She stared at him. You and me, she asked softly. You want to keep your throne. I want to save Earth. He extended his hand. Enemies die alone. Partners survive. She stared at his hand. Tension. Choice. Power. Then she reached out and took it. Just barely. Just enough. That night, as war drums echoed through the alien city and rebellion flickered in secret rooms, two enemies sat together, one human, one alien queen, bound not by love, but by something even more dangerous. Mutual fear. And mutual fire. They no longer whispered the queen's name in the palace halls. They whispered his. The human. The mechanic. The one who touched the beast and walked away a legend. Jack Reed. The alien nobles didn't like it. And neither did her generals. He was a risk. A virus. A symbol of change. And for a kingdom ruled by fear, change was the greatest threat of all. Jack didn't care about the whispers. He was sitting beside a dragon, brushing ash off its scorched scales. I told you not to fly so low, he muttered. The beast rumbled softly, wounded but loyal. Its eyes followed Jack's every movement, like a child watching its father work. The poison had slowed it. Its wing was torn. Whoever did this knew how to strike from the shadows. He glanced upward toward the towers. And wondered if the queen knew. Or worse, if she was part of it. High above, in her private war chamber, Queen Zalara slammed her fist against the crystal table. You dare poison my beast, she hissed. Her top general stood stiff. It's not yours anymore, he said boldly. It follows him. You forget your place. No, your majesty, he said, voice like iron. You're the one forgetting yours. The silence cracked. Guard stepped in. The queen didn't move. Instead, she spoke slowly. Are you rebelling? Not yet, the general said. But the people chant his name. They ask why the beast kneels for a human. They ask if the queen will kneel next. She raised her hand. He fell to the floor in a flash of light, dead. Then she whispered to the guards. Find out who helped him poison my dragon. And if they breathe his name again, cut their tongues out. But deep inside her, a question clawed its way forward. What if the general was right? That night, Jack walked into the queen's chamber unannounced. She didn't stop him. You're bleeding, she said. He looked down. Your pet guard's got a little pushy. She didn't apologize. He didn't expect her to. Instead, she poured a dark blue liquid into 2 glasses. Drink, she said. Jack raised an eyebrow. To what? She stared at the glass. To the only thing holding this empire together. He took the glass. You mean fear? She shook her head. You. Jack laughed, short and bitter. That's a scary thought. She moved closer. You made my dragon bend. You made me doubt myself. And now my court thinks I've gone soft. He looked into her eyes. Have you? Another pause. Then she reached up and touched his chest, lightly. I don't know what this is, she whispered. But I haven't killed you yet, and that should terrify me. Jack leaned in. Maybe it terrifies you because you don't want to. Their lips almost touched. But a blast rocked the tower. Alarm screamed. The queen's guards rushed in. Attack in the stables, one yelled. Zalara froze. Jack's face went cold. The dragon, he said. They ran. Smoke filled the lower halls. The scent of burning flesh and energy weapons echoed through the stone. When they reached the dragon pit, Jack stopped dead. The beast was surrounded. 10 armed soldiers. Poisoned blades. Traps. It roared in pain, trying to rise. Jack didn't hesitate. He charged. The queen shouted behind him, but he didn't hear her. He tackled one soldier, grabbed his weapon, and fired. The dragon struggled, bleeding from its side. Jack leapt onto its back. Let's go, buddy, he shouted. The beast surged upward, smashing through the roof. Blades sliced through the air. One caught Jack's arm. He winced, holding on as the dragon soared into the night sky. From the balcony, Zalara watched them vanish into the stars. Her court stood in chaos. But she didn't move. Because her heart wasn't in the tower. It was flying away. With him. Later, in the dark skies over the ocean ridge, Jack pressed his hand against the dragon's wound. We're not safe anymore, he said. The dragon growled low. Jack whispered, she didn't order this. I know she didn't. But another voice in his mind whispered. Didn't she? He looked down at the kingdom. Then up at the stars. Time to stop fixing machines, he muttered. And start fixing thrones. She couldn't sleep. Not because of the war. Not because of the rebellion growing inside her palace. But because of him. Queen Zalara stood alone in her private observatory, wrapped in a loose silk robe, hair down, eyes fixed on the stars. He had disappeared into the night with her beast. Her dragon. Her symbol of power. And yet, all she could think about was the way he looked at her. Not with fear. Not with worship. But with defiance and something dangerously close to affection. Far above the city, Jack Reed sat near a fire in a hidden mountain cave. The dragon slept behind him, its wound slowly healing. Jack stared at a hologram he'd stolen from the Queen's war table. A countdown. 12 days. In 12 days, the Queen's empire would launch its fleet toward Earth, unless something changed. Jack knew what he had to do. But first, he needed her. At sunrise, Solara entered her throne room to find a message carved into her stone floor. "We need to talk. Tonight. Come alone." She didn't tell her guards. Didn't alert the generals. Because even though it was reckless, her heart had already answered before her mind could. That night, she arrived at the edge of the obsidian cliffs, alone. A small fire flickered. Jack stood waiting, arms folded, dark eyes reflecting the flame. She stepped closer. "You're insane," she said. He smiled. "Still showed up, didn't you?" She ignored the heat rising in her chest. "The Empire is unstable. The generals want your head." Jack walked toward her. "Then why haven't you handed it to them?" Solara clenched her fists. "Because I can't figure out why I haven't killed you." Jack stepped even closer. Their faces inches apart now. "Because you're not afraid of me, Solara. You're afraid of yourself." She turned away. "This wasn't supposed to happen," she whispered. "You were supposed to be a tool. An example." Jack's voice softened. "But I became a choice." She said nothing. He circled around her slowly. "You can still rule. Still lead. But not through fear." She laughed bitterly. "Fear built this empire." "No," Jack said. "Fear caged it. And you." She turned back to him. "What do you want, human?" He didn't flinch. "Peace. Between your world and mine. The end of the war plan. Your word is all it takes." She shook her head. "I can't control them anymore. They smell weakness." He stepped forward. "Then give them strength." She blinked. "Make an alliance," he continued. "Not with Earth. With me. Public. United. Let them see that you choose me. Not because you're weak, but because you're done pretending you don't feel this." He reached out. Touched her hand. It trembled. Solara stared at him, fire in her throat, thunder in her chest. And then? She kissed him. Not soft. Not tender. But fierce. Desperate. Honest. When they broke, breathless, she spoke only 3 words. "You'll stand with me." Jack nodded. "To the end." She turned to leave. "I'll summon the court." Back in the palace, the Queen stood before her generals. "I have made a decision," she said loudly. They waited. Her voice didn't shake. "I will not attack Earth. I will not rule through fear." Murmurs exploded. One general stepped forward, eyes burning. "You betray us for a human." She stared him down. "No," she said. "I evolve for one." Later that night, Jack stood at the balcony of the royal chambers. The Queen joined him in silence. The stars above were the same as Earth's. But everything below had changed. "I never imagined," she said softly, "that I would lose power to something I couldn't name." Jack smiled. "Love?" She laughed lightly. "Something scarier." But in the shadows of the lower tower, the surviving generals whispered a plan. A new weapon. A final strike. Jack must die. And the dragon with him. Before the Queen forgets what a throne feels like. The Queen wore black. So did the entire empire. They stood in silence, heads bowed, the great bell tolling across the skies of Alexia. Today was the funeral of the human. Jack Reed. Gone. Dead. Burned alive by rebel traitors, the palace had declared. Torn from the skies while protecting her dragon. The beast had vanished. His body was never found. Only ashes remained. Or so they said. In truth, Jack was alive. Hiding beneath the city. Healed. Silent. Waiting. This funeral wasn't for grief. It was for strategy. Because Queen Zalara needed her empire to believe something dangerous. That the last man who touched her heart had paid the price. That she was cold again. Ruthless. Alone. Until the time was right. Until the truth could burn. 3 days passed. 3 days of false mourning. Of generals smirking. Of soldiers whispering, "Finally, the Queen is back." But she wasn't. Because she hadn't spoken since the funeral. Not to anyone. Until the morning of the summit. All the rulers of the outer sectors had arrived. The full Velection court, the warlords, the old bloodlines. A gathering meant to prepare for war. The Queen stepped into the chamber. She wore gold now. Not black. And she didn't sit. She stood before the room of killers, liars, and traitors. And gave them her truth. "You thought he weakened me," she said, her voice like thunder wrapped in silk. "You thought that dragon bowed to a human because I let it." She paused. "You're wrong." The chamber stirred. She looked up. "He didn't steal my power," she said. "He revealed it." Behind the throne, fire erupted. The walls cracked. And through the smoke, the dragon returned. Alive. Roaring. On its back? Jack. Clothed in Velection armor, scarred but standing tall, his hand gripping the beast's neck like it was born to obey him. The general screamed. Guards drew weapons. But Zalara raised a single hand. And everyone froze. Jack climbed down. Walked to her side. The Queen turned, looked him dead in the eyes. "You came back." He nodded. "You called." She faced the crowd. "My people, this is not the end of my reign. This is the evolution of it." She stepped forward. "This man is not your enemy. He is my partner." The chamber exploded in outrage. "You've lost your mind," one general roared. "She's been bewitched," another shouted. Weapons raised. Jack's voice sliced the air. "No. You're just scared of a future where fear isn't king anymore." He raised his hand. The dragon roared again. Flames circled the chamber but touched no one. Silence. Queen Zalara spoke again, her voice calm, final. "I will not be queen to the past. I will not be chained to war." She turned to Jack. "I choose him." She took his hand, publicly. Gasps spread like wildfire. She didn't care. Because it was done. Her choice had been made. Outside the palace, the streets erupted. Some in cheers. Some in rage. But none in silence. The rebellion had begun. But so had something bigger. Something more dangerous than war. Hope. That night, Jack stood alone at the top of the Queen's tower. She joined him silently. "You just declared war on your entire council," he said. "I declared peace," she replied. He looked at her. "You sure about me?" She leaned in. "No," she whispered. "That's why it's exciting." They kissed. Not as ruler and captive. Not as beast and master. But as two souls who stopped pretending they weren't already at war with their hearts. Far above the sky, the stars shimmered. And in the shadows of space, someone new was watching. Because when a queen dares to love a human, the universe never stays silent for long.